Hello, my paranormal peeps. Thanks for tuning in to another uh, Deep Woods Paranormal podcast. Today, we're going to talk about quite a few things. This may not be a super long audio or video, but we're going to kind of go back and forth talking about the podcast and also talking about YouTube channel and upcoming events, and we got a lot of it. So, all right, well, so let's start with some housekeeping. If you're on our YouTube channel, if you want to be part of the 300 subscribers drawing, please go to that video, the last video I just did, and put a comment in there. I want a hat, whatever. What we're going to do is we're going to use everybody's usernames, and we'll pick them out of a hat. And then we'll send you out a brand new hat like this. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, that says Deep Woods Paranormal. It's one of our many different types of hats we have. Anyways, so let's move on. We're going to be going to Fort Worth, Texas this coming weekend. We have an amazing investigation at a really old location. We're looking forward to it. I don't want to give out too many details. If you're in the Fort Worth area, please contact me if you're on our YouTube channel or go to deepwoodsparanormal.com, and all our contact information is there. So you can go on there and contact us through that. If you're a business owner or you have a location you want us to check out, please contact us. We're only there for Saturday night, so we should be there pretty early Saturday morning. I think we're going to kind of take a look around, maybe do a day investigation here or there, and then we'll be staying at our location, probably leaving gear running while we're gone. We're going to take a little bit of a break in the middle of our investigation and maybe go out somewhere else and then come back. So that's this coming weekend. If you, like I said, if you're in the Fort Worth, Texas area, and you know of a haunted location, you have a haunted business, you want us to come check it out, or if you just want to meet up with us for an hour or so, maybe catch a soda or something, or beer or whatever, please contact us through our YouTube channel, or if you're on our podcast, just go to our Deep Woods Paranormal page, our paranormal website. You can find all of our contact information there. So, let's talk about Martha's Chapel Cemetery. Where do I start with that? 3 cameras, only the 2 cell phones. Not even 2 cell phones. I think I tried to look at Amanda's stuff too, that she had recorded, but there just wasn't a whole lot of video to use there. So we ended up using a cell phone video to record 99% of that. We did go Facebook Live. I'll probably post that on our YouTube page for people to watch that too. But so we got there, and I think I've talked about this before, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse. Cemetery was heavily vandalized. So we went in, and if you've seen our show on YouTube, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. I don't want to give out too much information, but we immediately made contact with what seemed to be a Civil War soldier. And we've tried to contact him before. I've actually talked to several people that have family members there that have seen him. And essentially they say that he just kind of is a guardian. He kind of watches what everybody's doing. And he's in that front cemetery. So there's actually 2 cemeteries at the Martha's Chapel Cemetery. And it's segregated, which is ridiculous. But I mean, that's just, that's part of Texas history. So anyways, so let's talk about Civil War battlefields. There are a few of them here in Texas. There's also a few over Louisiana and in that area. We've actually gone to several places in our past. Amanda and I, we've traveled around and been able to go check these places out. And most of them seem to hold their paranormal activity. Myself, I think Amanda's been there too. I've been to Gettysburg at least once. Unfortunately, we didn't stay either time that I was there. I think Amanda's only gone once. But it was interesting. Walking through the battlefield area and stuff like that, and where some of the wars were fought, there's just an energy to it. And in other places, unfortunately, and it's not just Gettysburg, it's other places where the Civil War was fought, the battlefields, they've been repurposed. They've been wiped out. There's homes on them now, or there's businesses on them, or whatever. They've cleared the land, and unfortunately, it's become industrialized or residential or whatever, and just makes me wonder. It's always wanted to leave a business card. Hey, give me a call. Let me know if you have any crazy activity. So let's kind of talk about battlefields in general. So, like I said, I've been to Gettysburg. I've been to many forts. I've had the pleasure in Scotland of walking through a star fort. That was really, really cool. When I was down there, I walked down into one of the rooms and it was just almost pitch black. But as I was kind of walking towards the door, I saw a shadow go down the stairs. So I gave chase and kind of walked down in there. And I used my cell phone, but I don't think I got anything video or audio wise. But very cool place. When we were in Scotland, we stayed in I think they call them, and I apologize if you're listening, we stayed in a loft, and it was 3 stories. So the first floor was basically essentially just like the living area, the living room, the kitchen, and stuff like that. The second level had 2 bedrooms, and then there was a third level where Amanda and I stayed, and it was basically up in the attic. Oh, excuse me. That was my ring hitting the countertop here. So, yeah, just that place, it didn't feel, it felt like there was activity. There was definitely paranormal activity in that place. We experienced one of Amanda's curling irons, and, we're from the United States, but we had one of the adapters plugged in. She left it for 2 seconds and came back and had finished doing her hair or whatever she was doing. I think she was using a curling iron. Unplugged it, and we left for the day. We were gone for 8, 9, 10 hours. We came back. We found it plugged in, and it was just smoldering. The thing had melted because it was so hot. Thank God it was sitting in the sink and didn't burn the damn place down. But saw shadows in that place, and it was just very uncomfortable to sleep. Never felt comfortable sleeping in that place. When we went to Ireland, we stayed also in a few other places, and we stayed in a house, and the very first thing, 2:00 in the morning or whatever it was, had used the restrooms and was walking down the hall, and all of a sudden there's this guy just standing there, very tall, probably taller than me, maybe 6'3", 6'4", and he's in just slacks, and he's got on a sweater, and I could see he had red curly hair, and he just was standing there, and it scared the hell out of me because I wasn't expecting to see anybody standing in the middle of the hallway at 2:00 in the morning, and he basically disappeared as fast as he appeared. But yeah, that place was also haunted, and we visited quite a few castles. I don't think we saw or experienced anything in the castles. I don't think we were there long enough. There was a lot of people around. That's the problem with touring a location and stuff like that. But I just love old battlefields. I love castles. I love old Civil War areas. I love the history. I don't like that a bunch of people were killed, but that does produce paranormal activity sometimes. So, anyways, like I said, when we were talking about Civil War fields, we were somewhere. I don't know if we were in. Amanda and I traveled the United States when we were in our early 20s. We went from California to New York and then drove back, and we drove on the outside states along the way. Texas, we hit Florida, Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina. We stayed in a lot of places that were said to be very haunted. And one of the places we stopped at was this old mud fort. I don't remember which state it's in. somebody's going to be going, hey, I know exactly what you're talking about. But I don't remember the exact name of the fort. I was trying to look it up earlier, but I can't seem to find it. But essentially, we went into the barracks, which were, well, let me start here. So you walk up to this park, and there's no like standing structures. And you're looking at it going, okay, what? This is a fort, right? But it's actually what they did was they made a bunch of berms. They made a bunch of sand and mud and clay berms and built their barracks and everything underneath the clay and the bear with me, I'm struggling today. Underneath the earth, essentially, it's an earth fort. And the reason they did that is because that location took heavy bombardment by the North during the Civil War. And every time like a berm was damaged, all they did was push the sand back up, and essentially it was back to normal. And so the North just had a hell of a time trying to hit that location, and it kept the troops safe and stuff like that. So really cool place. When we were walking down in the barracks where they were sleeping, there was all kinds of old cots set up and stuff. And I could have sworn I heard a shadow, and we heard a voice too. I think Amanda heard it too. And we both kind of looked at each other and went, what? We thought we were, each of us thought the other one had said something to the other one. And I'm like, wait, what? We just were kind of confused. And so we basically left. Back then, we didn't really have a whole lot of gear. I think we had, this is back in the, mid-90s, probably late 90s. We visited a lot of haunted places, said to be haunted places. When we lived in California, we were like a mainstay at the Queen Mary. We were there almost every weekend. Or we were at some other said to be haunted location, walking around, just checking things out. The Whaley House, we were there so much that they basically told us we couldn't film or anything in there anymore. And then all of a sudden, we just stopped going there because of that. The Queen Mary kind of changed too, unfortunately. And definitely a cool location, but unfortunately they've just changed it so much that it's so much different now. It's so much harder to get in there and do what you need to do to get evidence and stuff. So, anyways, but yeah, that was a cool location. That Civil War mud fort was awesome. I think Amanda and I stopped at a few other places and checked them out. Excuse me. And so yeah, just cool locations. The Mexican-American War happened here in Texas. I have contacted a lot of docents, a lot of historical societies about getting onto some of these battlefields. There's actually an old fort. Well, it's not considered a fort, but it's where Santana basically murdered the American general here. And essentially, that led to basically the Mexican army being wiped out. They slaughtered, 300 or 400 Americans. And I'm not talking about the San Antonio one. I'm talking about another location that was also famous. But anyways, all right. So sorry about that. A little bit of brain farts going on this morning. Okay, so the Mexican-American War, like I said, there's several battlefields here. There's some down in Houston area that I'd like to go check out and just see if anything, would happen. My wife kind of speaks Spanish. She knows enough words to get herself in trouble probably. But, yeah, I would definitely want to go check that out. Maybe have some reenactors there. Maybe some speakers with cannon fire sounding and stuff like that, or any of these battlefields actually would probably, there might be some activity that starts if you try that. Anyways, another location that we successfully investigated was Brenham, Texas. And if you don't know about Brenham, Texas was not part of the Civil War, but afterwards it was actually occupied by the North. The North really pushed their luck in that town. They had occupied that town for a long time, and the town folk were getting tired of them. They were getting tired of being pushed around and being told what to do. They didn't really want to have anything to do with the North. Um, so one night there was an uprising, and as the North basically fled the city, they got driven out by the townsfolk, and they lit half the town on fire. Well, there's this old location called Smitty's Cafe. It's not there anymore. Unfortunately, it's changed names. Um, but if you watch a lot of our just short clips on YouTube of evidence and stuff like that guy walking out of the bathroom area, that was actually caught on a motion camera. There was nobody in that area at that time. But we got so much evidence from that place. So essentially, his story, one of the owners of I think he owned a merchant store back in the early 1800s, and that part of the building burned down. He died in the fire, and I heard a lot more people actually died. I think 21 people or something like that died throughout the town when the fires were set. But really cool town. If you ever get a chance to come to Texas, go check out Brenham, Texas. Very amazing place. Smitty's Cafe has actually moved. We want to support them, and they have really good food, and they're nice people. And if you get the chance to go over there to Smitty's Cafe, look up the new Smitty's Cafe. They're out there. I think they're in an old gas station or something, which is cool. We have not investigated that location, but maybe in the future if they have activity. But the way that came to be, Smitty's Cafe, we had just moved to Texas. We were still kind of getting settled in. And so we went out to have lunch with our mother-in-law, and we sat down, and the place just had a feeling of being active. There was just some kind of energy to it, and call it a spidey sense or whatever you want to call it. So essentially, I talked to the girl that was serving us, and I said, "Hey, is this place haunted?" And she smiled at me, big grin. She's like, "Yeah, it is." And so I gave her a business card, and we left and hadn't heard anything for 2 or 3 months. And Tammy, who was the manager at the time, basically called me up and said, "Hey, I found your card. This place is very haunted. We'd love to have you come check it out." So I think we did 4 investigations over about a 2-year period at that location. We always got amazing things. I think we got a full body apparition the first 3 times we were there. I mean, we got something on camera of an apparition. The first time, I think we got like a shadowy figure that walked in front of a pole. The second time, we got the little kids. Actually, I think we got more than that. We got the little kids playing by the pool area. I mean, you just see these little shadows that are about the same height at the top of the pool table, go by, and they set off the K2s as they go by, and they set off the cameras too. They got caught on motion camera, and just insane place. I mean, that was one of the reports of seeing a couple little girls in the pool area or the bar/pool area, and just crazy. And as we were going on, we started getting K2 hits. We kept hearing like somebody walking around upstairs. Essentially, it's 2 buildings put into one, or 2 shops. Essentially, they bought both sections of the building. They bought the whole building when they bought it. And we got so much activity. Unfortunately, the older files that I had for that location are now corrupt. Unfortunately, with the Windows update, it basically our older cameras that we've had for 15, 20 years no longer function because they're only 780p. And my computer, for some reason, just doesn't like them. Won't open the files or anything. They come up corrupt 99% of the time. I was glad I got what I did onto our YouTube channel. So if you go over to our YouTube channel, there's like a guy that comes walking out of the bathroom. There's all kinds of crazy things that happen in that place. and just an amazing location. So, like I said, if you ever get the chance to go to Brenham, please do. It's totally worth it. All right, guys. Like I said, this is not going to be a long podcast. It's going to be a little bit shorter. We have a lot of stuff coming down the pike. We actually just talked to Joe from Joe's Camp. If you've on our YouTube channel and you've seen that video, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, please visit our YouTube channel, Deep Woods Paranormal, and spell that completely out, because there's other channels that have tried to use our name, Deep Woods Paranormal Activity or something like that. It's weird. But anyways, yeah, you'll see all kinds of crazy things that happened to us over about a 2-year period, where we've been looking forward to getting back up to Joe's for almost a year now. The reason we haven't touched Joe's location, and we're going to be very careful when we go back, is because he, if you heard this already, I'm sorry to repeat, but some people are probably new here, and I just want to give them some 411. Joe's Camp is about 60 acres of land. It's kind of set up like a football field. The front kind of slopes up towards the back. He has several freshwater creeks on his property. And then he basically has tree structures, trees bent over, trees snapped off, huge footprints, 22-inch footprints. I think the last one we recorded was 22 inches. I have a big, fat, size 13 wide. I put it next to it and was like, wow, it looks like a little kid's foot next to an adult foot. But yeah, just insane, the amount of activity. Essentially, I think they're coming through his property to go to the other side. He had about 300 trees cut down, and that's the whole reason we have not been touching his property. We wanted to let that settle. Unfortunately, his property got decimated by bark beetles. A lot of the pine trees, these beautiful, 2-foot wide pine trees that he had, that the Bigfoots used to come down right to where his camper was and everything, all had to come out just because of fire. I mean, he could have set the whole area on fire if he gets a lot of lightning up there, zigzag lightning. And if one of those trees got hit, it could have been a real problem and could have burned down not only his camp, but everybody's camp around it, because there's a lot of other camps up in that area. And this is in the middle of a forest. He lives in the middle of a national forest. His family's owned this, again, Civil War, pre-Civil War. They had, he said 500 acres, 1,000 acres, something like that. And so, yeah, just crazy. But he's been scouting a lot of locations around his area. He's been talking to a lot of witnesses for us up in his area. And so we have about 3 or 4 locations up there that we're going to try and go hit. So anyways, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Maybe we'll see you in Fort Worth. Maybe we won't. We'll have a new video out for that investigation, or multiple videos probably for that investigation, starting probably the end of next week, and then we'll go from there. So a lot of investigations coming down the pike. Really looking forward to it. A lot of Bigfoot stuff coming. So if you're watching this and you're in Bigfoot, then we're going to get ramping up on that. Everybody keeps asking us, go back out to find the Bigfoots, go back to Joe's and stuff like that. But we've got other properties around us that now we've talked to quite a few people, and they're like, you got to come check this out. And after working with Joe, I'm a little bit more motivated. I'm a little bit more of a believer when it comes to, what these people have to say. So anyways, a lot of new locations coming, probably places that people are going, what, you went where? And you got Bigfoot activity? So yeah, I mean, just crazy. And then more ghost hunting too. We have another cemetery we want to visit. And then I have plans to contact a few places we've been before, because Amanda didn't get to go check those locations out. One being the old jail. And we'll go from there. So anyways, thanks guys for watching or listening. We really appreciate your support. Sorry for being so scatterbrained today. I have a lot of stuff going through my head because I got to start packing here and getting gear ready and stuff like that for the trip to Fort Worth. So, all right, you guys have a great day. Again, thank you. We really appreciate your support, and you guys have an awesome day.